think I have 5 people that have dropped a message in the chat. Hello, Leila, Anikan, Sam, Olasukumi, and Victor. I hope you guys had a wonderful day. Hope you were part of the session yesterday too, and I hope you had time to go through the recorded session. If you have any questions, from yesterday's session or even during the class today, feel free to drop it in the chat because I have the chat screen opened in a different screen, so I can basically see your messages when you drop them. Okay, we're going to continue from where we Hi, Amaka. Please confirm if you can hear me. Let me just set up a backup network here because sometimes we can't just trust these network providers. Okay. Kindly confirm if you can hear me. Yeah, I got disconnected for about a minute or so. Please confirm if you can hear me. Okay. Thank you. All right, so looking at my screen here, I already have Excalibur opened up. So yeah, we're going to be doing some diagramming, but we are also going to write some code, right? So let me quickly open the terminal. Please, Amaka, I hope we're recording. I hope we are recording. So that's, oh yeah, we are recording. Okay. So I have my terminal opened up here. We're going to set up a simple project. By the way, this music is disturbing us. Let's probably drop it a bit again. Okay. So we're going to set up a project. So let me just go down to my desktop, make a directory here. Let's call this database class. Okay. And we can navigate into database class. So we have an empty directory right here, in this, on my desktop, we have an empty directory. Before we jump into writing some code, I would love to, of course, do some explanations here. Okay. Yesterday we described, working with relational databases. I have to zoom in. And we also mentioned non-relational databases. Okay. And then I made some reference to, how these data are stored. So I said tables, right? And here I said we basically have collections, right? So we have a mapping that looks like this. We have the database. So let's say the database in the relational DB, the databases or the database has tables, right? And the tables, of course, have rows. Okay. And then, we have the tables, and the tables have those, rows. And I mean, during the session yesterday, I mentioned columns, right? And I said the columns have fields. Okay, so why I'm saying rows right now is because when you open a table, you're going to see multiple records: record 1, record 2, record 3, record 4, just like that. The columns I was describing there basically, speaks to the fields, right? Those specific, sections. So we have, for example, a table that holds students' record, and you have like the student name. That's a column, right? So if you describe the rows, you are speaking to individual, records, right? I also called it a record yesterday, remember? So individual records, I think that even works here. And then, in each record, you have the fields, right? You have the fields, or you can say each record, you have the column data, right? Just trying to make you understand from the practical example I also gave yesterday, where I shared an actual database, sitting on my machine here. So you have the column data, the respective data in there. So in the other option we have here, which is the non-relational databases, you have the database, we have the collections, right? The collections basically serve as the table here. When looking at it from the relational standpoint, you have the documents, right? So you have the documents, and inside the documents, you have you have the fields. Okay. So yeah, I just want to make sure that we are aligned on this. Today we are going to be paying attention to the non-relational DB, and we'll be focusing on a specific non-relational or NoSQL DB. We're focusing on MongoDB, right? Basically, all non-relational DB would follow the same principles or the same patterns, right? And when I say patterns, I'm referring to the way you store these records. It's not enforcing you to follow a particular structure, but of course you can choose to specify that on the code level using what you probably know as schema, right? MongoDB schemas and models. But ideally, you can store your data in basically any shape you feel to throw that data in there. It's just storing that record without thinking about the tables, the constraints, all those. Okay. Yeah. So we are going to be using MongoDB. First, I want to show you we can install MongoDB. Let me put a tag here. So this MongoDB manual, so you like mouse, like installation, click on that link I just shared in the 300 chat. Okay, and you can basically follow through with the installation. So we have different installation variants here. You see, we have the community edition and the enterprise edition. Let's pay attention to the community edition, which is the free version. Okay, if you're going for the enterprise edition, it means you probably want to check the pricing. Yeah, so if you're installing the community edition on a Linux-based machine, you see we have different options for different distribution. So if you are running an Amazon Linux box, you probably want to go with this. If you are using a SUSE distribution, a Debian distribution, if you are using Ubuntu, then this is what you should click on, right? For those of you that are using Linux and Ubuntu specifically, if you are running a Mac, you'll probably want to click on this. So let's open this in a different tab. If you're on a Windows machine, click on this. If you want to run this with Docker, you click on this. Let's click on Windows. Although I am using a Mac and I already have this installed on my machine. For Windows users, let me also share the link in the chat. Okay, I know we have a lot of Windows users and probably the Linux guys. I mean, you can simply click on this link from that page that I shared earlier, but let me just drop them as well. Yeah, so if you are a Windows user, it gives you the installation candidate here, which is the msiexec.exe, right? This is the MongoDB installation candidate. So you can simply click on this link and let's see where it takes us to. So we can say install MongoDB using the MSI installer. Let's click on that. This keeps taking us down this path. Probably I have to scroll down. Let's scroll down. Let's forget that. Okay, so we're going to visit the MongoDB download center right here. All right, I'm sure we're going to something. I believe. Oh yeah, this is still loading. So we're going to get a section here that we'll click on to download. Someone said it's not here. Okay, so guys, if you can still hear me, it's possible that it's my network, but I don't think so because it seems fine from my end. Confirm if you hear me, Lila. Lila Abiola. All right, guys. So I was hoping I wasn't speaking to myself, but it turns out that I was actually speaking to myself. So Yeah, I had to use a different network. Give me a second so I can share my screen again. Just give me a second. Okay. Someone said everything is on standstill. I believe you can hear me now, right? Fatima, can you hear me now? Awesome. Okay, all right, let's continue. So, I was showing us this page. So this is the MongoDB installer page. So if you come down here, you see we have the option for a Mac because I am currently running a Mac. So I have that as the first option, but I can switch by clicking on this and selecting my machine type, which of course is Windows for me. So I can click on Windows x64. When I click on that, you see I have the MSI package selected and the version that I want selected as well. We have the most recent version, which is the release candidate right here, the RC 13 version, but I would recommend you go with the current stable version, which is 7.0.12. So always make sure you go for the stable version, which is highlighted here with the current tag. Okay. So I can click on download. For those of you that are Windows users, select the version, the platform, the package. If you want a zip package as well, you can select that. So when I click on download, this is going to start downloading that application on my machine. So it's going to ask me to select the parts that I want to save this file to. You can see this is the MSI file. I just have to click on save. This version will not work for me because I am not running a Windows machine, but it will work for you if you are running a Windows machine. All you have to do is, double click on the file when it's done installing, and it will start, the installation process. If I go for the Mac option, right, I just have to locate Mac OS 64. If you're using a Mac with an Apple chip, that's for the processor, of course. Then I'm sure you can probably go with the macOS ARM64. Let's see if they have an additional macOS installation candidate here. I don't think so. So I believe this should work for you. If you are using a Debian-based OS, Amazon Linux, Red Hat, SUSE, or Ubuntu, right? We have different options here for you. And if you have any challenge, installing this, do well to let me know. Okay. So, if I click on the Mac option here, I can simply click on download. And of course, we have alternative options where you can simply, use Brew, right? So this is an option to run this on the Kubernetes server. For now, this is simply, what we need. We just need to download. Let's see. Give me a second. MongoDB. Yes. So we just need to download. I hope that's the right thing. Try MongoDB. Yes. So we just need to download this on our machine, install it, and after the installation, you just have to try the command mongosh, which is the Mongo shell, right? So if I say mongosh, it gives me, it tells me if this is active, if the MongoDB shell is installed on my machine, right? And as you can see, it drops me into that shell, so which means I am connected successfully to the MongoDB instance that I have installed on my machine. Okay, so this is our database instance in the terminal. I will also show you how to access this using what we call the Compass app, right? The MongoDB Compass. So if I search for MongoDB Compass, it takes me to the download page for the MongoDB Compass, and I will share this with you so you can download this tool. It's a MongoDB GUI tool that you can use for navigating your database, the collections, the documents, right? You can make updates, you can delete records. It makes it easier. It gives you this GUI feeling because it is actually a GUI tool. So yeah, you can easily navigate for those of you that prefer using GUI tools, I recommend you learn how to use the terminal commands anyways. But the GUI tool would help you. So whether you are very good with the terminal or not, it's good to also know how to use the compass tool. So all I have to do is simply select the version as well, the platform, and the package. Okay. So this is a Mac. We have a DMG package. So I can simply click on download. If you're a Windows user, go ahead and click on Windows 64 bits, right? So we have the MSI option. So we have the Ubuntu, the macOS, the Red Hat version here. Depending on your distribution for the Linux machines, you can also select that and simply click on download. All right. So that is basically how you perform installation. Now that we have MongoDB installed and we have tested that MongoDB works, we can try some commands, some basic commands, right? So we have the first command I'm going to use here, which is show DBs. Show DBs is a command that would show the databases that I have, created already in my current instance, which is my local host. This is running on my machine, so it's on the local host. When I run show DBs, I have some of the databases that I've created, BookDB, Brief Generator, blah, blah, blah. So you see, these are the databases I have. Well, I can decide to use a specific DB. For example, I can say use the book DB, right? And you see that my database has now switched to the database called BookDB. Okay. Within this BookDB, I can actually create a collection, or I can see the list of collections I have. So if I say show collections, you see I have a collection called books, just that collection, right? So I can simply decide to run a command like db dot the collection name, which is books, because I am currently in that DB, and I can say find. So this command is going to show me all the records I have inside that database and inside that books collection. So these are the documents, as I mentioned earlier. These are documents, right? And we have these documents sitting inside this collection, which is the books collection. Okay. All right. So we have commands for inserting records, fetching records, deleting records, and we're going to try them one at a time. So let's get started with creating a record, for example. One thing I love to do is to always create create a version. Give me a second. I have a lot of things opened up here. This is let's create a new one here. Let's close some of this. Okay. So one thing I love to do is to first write my command outside of the shell, just in case I want to, edit the command or basically make some adjustments, and probably the shell might prove to be difficult for some of you when you're trying to make some of these edits. Okay. So if I say db.books, which is the name of the collection, so this is the collection right here. Okay. So if I say db.books and I say .insert one, in here I can put the record I want to insert. So of course you have a structure for your books. If you do have one, we can say in our book record we are going to have the name of the book, right? And we're also going to have take a look at what we have here. We have the title, we have the author, we have the published date, we have the pages, we have the genre, right? So I can simply, use this, these records as well. I can have the title, and I can say this title is called The Adventure of Code. Okay, so I'll put a comma in there, and I will say the author. Let's say Math Magic. I would say the published date, so you can actually include the published date. Let's keep that for now. Let's just go straight to the pages. So for the pages, I'm going to specify that this book has like 600 pages plus 200. 600 is probably too much. Doesn't matter though, but I feel most of you probably like me. Maybe you don't like to read a lot of novels. So yeah. So that is it for the pages, and then we can also include the genre. So Let's assume this is a fiction. Let's just say it's a fiction or an adventure book, right? So I think this is fine. We can simply throw this into that bracket that we have right here. Okay. This is all we need to create a new book. So if I should copy this, I can simply paste this in here. And if I run this, it says acknowledged true, inserted ID. This is the ID of that book because the ID is generated. Okay. Of course, you can include your own ID if that is what you want to do, but we already have auto-generated ID for us here, so we don't need to, include our own ID at this point. So yeah, we have a new book, and we can simply check if this book actually exists. So I can say db.books.find. This basically fetch all the books in our record, in our database or in the collection. And when you look at this, we can see the new book we just created. The ID was auto-generated. We have the title, the author, the pages, and the genre. Okay, so that is it for creating a new book or for creating a new record using MongoDB shell, which is, of course, I mentioned that earlier, Mongosh. That's kind of like the short way to call it, but yeah, it simply stands for the MongoDB shell. So if you have any questions with this so far, ask your questions in the chat while I continue to explore other commands with you on the call. So I can see we probably have over 10 people on this call. Let me know if you have any questions while I proceed. All right, so the next command we're going to be looking at here is basically the command to update records. Okay, so I would want us to update this record that you're seeing right here. When updating a record, you want to specify a value that you can use to identify that record you are trying to update. We can use the author, we can use the title, we can use page. But the thing is, it's a good idea to always use the ID. Okay, it's a good idea to always use the ID because it makes it easier for us. The ID is unique, so you don't end up updating multiple records, right? Yeah. So let's go with that. Okay, so we are going to be using the ID. Let's start by, I'm going to reduce this a bit so we can use the same. Okay, can increase that. All right. So we are going to say db.books.update1. Inserting one and updating one. This is to say that we can actually insert many, right? Just keep that in mind. You can insert many, and you can have multiple records in here. So we can just have a comma with multiple records, okay? Just keep that in mind. We'll probably talk about that some other time, but you can also update, multiple records. You can delete multiple records as well, but now we're trying to update one. So let's say update one, right? And you want to specify two sections here. The first one would be the filter. So we use this to kind of like, select the item we want to update. And, we can use the ID, right? So we can basically use the ID. We can just grab the ID this way and copy the whole ID section here. I can paste that in here with a comma after that filter. So this is a filter, right? And the next thing we're going to have here is basically how we set the new value that should go into, this record, okay? Which of course is a document. So sometimes you hear me say record document. If it's a record, if it's a SQL database, yeah, record makes sense. No SQL, we call it document. But the major thing is that you understand what you're dealing with, and sometimes you find yourself using the terms, interchangeably, right? It doesn't really matter, but at least know what you're doing. Okay, so I can simply use the set keyword, so I can set the new value. All right, so let's set the new value. I'm simply going to set the title. So let's have the set block here. I can decide to change the title, and I can call this let's see, the Great Adventure of Code, or let's say of Mav. Okay, so that's what we are setting. That is what we are trying to change. And of course, we can just put the remaining items. Let's just keep the remaining items. Or I would show you. Let's run this first. I'm going to simply copy this and paste this here. So if you have an error, you're going to get that, syntax error sign here. As you can see, we have an error. It says unexpected token. Let's try to verify where that error is coming from. Okay. So first we're able to put in these items. This is 1, this is 2, the open and close braces. Okay. So next we are saying set. Let's see, make sure this is correct. So we have this value. Okay. We are able to close this here, close this here, and close this here. Okay. So I think maybe the spacing is probably where the problem is coming from. So let me try to close out on this space. All right, so give me a second. Try to close out on this space. All right. Oh, I see. Not the space. I have multiple columns there. So yeah, that was a problem. I think this should work. Let me try this one more time. Let's paste that. So yeah, that worked. It said acknowledged true, inserted ID. So it says inserted ID is null. It matched the count. It also modified it. Let's try to verify if that worked. I'll say db.books.find, right? So let's see. Now we have the great adventure of Marv. Remember, initially it was the adventure of code. So which means the update function worked. All right. So we have updates, and updates actually worked successfully. So we're able to update. All right. And we've been able to also create. All right. So now we have the function for creating, or the action, or the command, right, for creating a new book and updating the book. Let's also, update, or let's delete. Let's delete this record we have created. So I'm going to use db.books.delete one. And in here, I'm also going to specify a filter, just like what we did earlier, right? We specified a filter right here. So we can simply copy this filter that we have here. All right. And we can just paste that in here. So if I copy this and I paste it here, it says acknowledge true deleted count 1. And that says we've, deleted something, but let's verify. As you can see, that last record is no longer here, which means the record was deleted. So we also have our delete action successful. Delete action was successful. All right. We've been able to create a document, update a document, delete the document, and also fetch the documents. So for fetching the documents, we've been using a specific command, which is, so we'll say fetch. Let's say, the document, the command is db.books.find. Of course, you can find one, right? The same way we can delete one, I said it that we can also get to delete many, right? You just have to specify, the filter for all the items you want to delete, right? So I would give you a cheat sheet so you can see more commands in there. Right now, I am using find. Find basically fetch all the items. When using find, you don't need the filter block anyways. So I can simply use the command just like this, and it gives me all the items still. If I want to find one item, I can specify the filter just like this. Okay. Now that I have a filter, I can simply use that filter to fetch just one record. So you see, I have the specific record I am looking for because I have used the filter to drill down on that single record. Okay. All right. So this is basically how you fetch. Although I did not create a PDF material for you, but I'm sure if you come back to this recording, you would see this command. So this is to fetch one, and this is simply to fetch all. So let's say fetch all. So all I have to do is take off these guys. This gives us all the items, all the documents in this collection. All right, so let me know if you have any questions before we move into trying this out with code. For those of you that have been writing JavaScript code, we are going to be experimenting with this in JavaScript, right? We've done this before. I'm going to keep it simple, right? I'm going to keep it very, very simple because we've done this before. So yes, if you can hear me, drop your questions in the chat if you have any questions, so that I can go ahead to simply set this up by creating a CRUD application with JavaScript and MongoDB. We are not using Mongoose. I have videos where I've taught you how to use Mongoose, which is an ODM. It's called an object document mapper, right? So you can basically check out some of the previous videos we have on YouTube, and I'm sure you would find a database class where we taught how to use MongoDB in our backend engineering session. Okay. Yes. So I can see we don't have any questions, and it means we all understand what I've been explaining so far. If that is the case, then of course I am super impressed and happy that we understand some of these things already. Okay, so let's jump into creating our project. Yeah, so I think I have a folder. I'm going to exit. I think I can just, exit this. Someone said, please, can you post the link for MongoDB for Holodos? All right, so I simply created that material because it carries some of these things already. Let me see. Give me a second. So I created that material. Right now, I don't even know the exact link, but sure I can find it. I have to go into Gitbook. By the way, if anybody has the link, you can share it in the chat. I can't remember the exact URL. Let me see. Maybe it's just gitbook.com/ let's see, Gitbook. I don't think that is correct, but yeah, it is not correct. Let's see, .gitbook.com. Still not correct. Okay, so let me just sign in. So Gitbook, and I'll try to get that URL for you. Yes, so I don't take too much of our time. Please, someone can help me get that material. I don't think I added it to my website, so I believe maybe you want to fetch it from the WhatsApp group or Discord. Yeah, I think you'll find it on Discord. So please check Discord. Someone should check the Discord server. I think it was shared on the Discord server. If you can get it, drop it in the chat. If you cannot get it, I'll probably drop it later. Let's just move on real quick, okay? All right, so I don't have any file here. I'm going to create a new file. I'll call this main.js or just index.js. So yeah, I'm going to say npm init-y, which is going to initialize, our node project. And I'm going to also install, so I would say npm install MongoDB, which is the only library we're going to be using for now. So yeah, that's fine. Let's go. All right, so this command is a combination of two commands. It is simply going to install, I think we have an error, so it said not found. I think I made a mistake in the spelling. I used double M instead of a single M. So let me delete the previous command and let's run this one more time. Okay, so we have our package installed. Let's go ahead and open this up with Z. So I'm just going to use this text editor for now. Of course, you can use code. You can use VS Code, right? Let's just use this text editor for now. And I will zoom in here so you can see my code clearly. What we are simply going to do, remember we already have MongoDB installed, right? It's right here in our node modules. I am going to bring in the Mongo client. So we have the Mongo client, and we're simply going to require this. I think I have double equals sign there, which is not correct. So yes, we are importing this from MongoDB. And next we are going to set, I think I made a mistake here. Okay. Single quote, not double. So next we're going to set up our URL. Remember that this is running locally. So our URL to the local instance of our installed MongoDB software would simply be localhost with the port 27017, right? And we can also specify the name of our DB. So we can say DB name equals book, let's say book class, right? Let's just call this book class because of this class, right? So book class is fine, and this should be from the string. Yes. So next, we are simply going to let's create the instance, which is our DB. Let's connect to the Mongo client. So I'll say Mongo client dot connect, and I will pass in the URL that I've specified. Alongside, I will just say let's use a use new URL parser. Make sure you don't make a mistake in the spelling there. I'll specify this to true. I am also going to set to use a unified topology here. These are some of the defaults that you can pass in when setting up your database, right? So I'm just going to say use unified topology. So true. And by the way, you can get this from the MongoDB documentation as well. So yes, you can do that. So now we have these, we have our connection. Next, I think, yeah, we can basically continue by saying that then, this is going to give us a callback here. So I'll say that then, the client. Okay. So this is basically our connection string. This is basically our connection. We're simply setting up the connection right here. Okay. So if this is connected successfully, just, go ahead and tell us that, our database, so I'll say database was connected successfully. Database connected successfully, probably not the was. And yeah, so we can now go ahead to set up our DB that we have created here. Let's just make that, the instance. So I say client, the DB, and I specify the DB name, right? Which is what I have right here. Okay. So we set that to be the DB. If there's an error, let's catch that error. Let's understand what the error is exactly. So what I'm going to do is to say console.log. I think I can do this on the same line. Console.log or console.error. The specific error. We don't know what the error is, but at least with this, we can identify what the error, what the error is. Okay. So yeah, so I think this is fine. So I said require MongoDB. I have this. Let's test this to make sure it works. Right. Let's just verify this works. I'm going to say node index. Right. And let's see if our database connects. So it says database connected successfully. It means we have our database, installed. We have our database connected, and our database is, properly set up to go. So yes, this is our connection to the local instance of our database, and we're good to go. So right now we're going to write some commands. The first command would be a function, right? A function to create a new document. We're going to write a function to read that record, to update, a record, and also to delete a record. So let's be fast about this, right? And by the way, I'm also looking at the chat. I don't have any message or question yet, so let me proceed. All right, so I'm going to say this is to create. We're going to have, for reading, updating, and deleting. So I'll say read, update, delete. Okay, so these are going to be new functions. So new functions each. So let's start with this first one, and that will be a const create document. I would say equals the data that we're going to pass in here. Let's call that the document, and we'll simply have our arrow function to create our function in here, and I would say db.collection. Just like, the similar, this is similar to the commands we've been using all this while. So put the collection name here. The collection name, we're going to call these, let's just call this my collection, right? So we're specifying the collection we want to work with, and I'll say that insert one. Okay, we're inserting the document. So the document will be passed in here. I would say that then, which of course is our callback. So there will be a result, and I just want to console.log that result. Okay. And yes, if there's an error, by the way, I can simply say console.log, maybe documents inserted with the result, that kind of stuff. So I can say documents, maybe I can separate them. Yeah. So document inserted, and I can just specify, the detail of that document in the results. And I'll say dot else if there's an error. So let's sorry, not dot else. I mean, I keep making that mistake. Dot catch, right? So we have an error, and yeah, when we have an error, we want to say console.log error. Let's identify what the error is exactly. Okay, so someone said Mongoose versus MongoDB clients. Any difference? Yes. The difference is that Mongoose basically makes using MongoDB easier for you, so you can set up your schemas, build up models from those schema that you've defined, which is like setting up structure, right? And it also gives you, easier query, so you don't need to do all this if you're trying to create a document. It makes it way easy for you to actually use Mongoose. So I've had several classes where I taught how to use Mongoose. Check out any of the or backend just search on Top Universe YouTube channel. So you can simply go to youtube.com/ at topuniverse_org, and you can check out the videos there. You see some of the sessions where we taught Mongoose, and I'm sure those videos should help. Okay, so this is going to help us create a new document, and we can simply use this. So we can just can call this function, and we can pass in our documents, right? So for this example, I'm just going to pass in name. Let's say Marvelous Solomon. That's the name, and we're going to pass in some other fields. So I'll just say name and age. Let's say 42, right? So we have just name and age. Maybe we can include email as well, right? So let's include email. I'll say me@mav.com. Okay, so now we have this set of records for creating a document. Okay, let me comment on this first and probably push it to the end. Okay, so this is going to create a document. So if I call this, this is basically going to create a document. So we have an error, and let's try to fix, where that error is coming from. I said db.collection, and did I make a mistake with that spelling? Collection. Okay, so we have an error. It says not read properties of undefined. It can't read the DB. Well, we'll probably want to check out why we have such error. So let's see, cannot read DB of, okay, reading collection. All right, so let's try to see where is this coming from. db.collection, we already assigned, we said if the database is connected, the database should be assigned to the client. So let's check this out. All right, so I said db.collection. Sorry, is someone trying to speak? If you're trying to speak, you can drop a message. I'll let you know when to unmute. Okay, Amaka, can you help me mute that person? Naya, please mute yourself. All right, thank you. Okay. Sorry, who is that? I mean, if you're speaking, I can't hear you. Amaka, was that you? Hi, Amaka, can you hear me?
Yes. People tell me they see them, they see two angels standing on
Okay. All right. So I have db.collection, and we have an error here saying cannot read properties of undefined reading collection. All right. So we need to figure out where this error is coming from. Let's see if this is a specific. Okay. So right here we said client dot. You see what we said client dot db equals name, right? So we need to also figure out if that is what is throwing this error, right? From what I can see, we basically defined this properly. So we said, if this is successful, let's just make sure that this is working very well. So we said that client, if this is successful, go ahead and connect. And after connecting, set this up. Okay. So that was what we said. Go ahead and set this up by saying DB that we've defined here equals the client dot DB associated with the DB name, which is the specific DB that we are trying to create at this point. Okay, that's the DB name. All right, and we said if there's an error, go ahead and catch that error. Then this is the point where we are now trying to create a document. When we try to create a document, we say db.collection, and we specify the collection. which is correct. Okay, so next we proceed. Let's see what we did here. Sometimes this can also be like a version problem, but let's verify this properly. db.collection, my collection, and we said dot insert one. Okay, so which is actually right. Okay, that's right. When I save, yeah. So let's go ahead and verify this again. So I'm going to look at the connection first, and then try to trace where that specific error is coming from. Okay, so it said cannot read properties of undefined reading collection, blah blah blah. Let's see. Hold on, I would love to check probably the client. Let me see where that is coming from. I think there's an error there. Give me a second. Okay, I'm going to simply go back into Mongosh first, just to see if this was connected successfully. I'm going to say show DBs, right? And we have book DB. Which other DB do we have here? So do we have the book class? Let's come back here to see if we have the book class. We do not have the book class in our database. So we have to then, change. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Okay, so I see what is going on here. Basically, it's a result of the way we are using this, right? So since we have this, DB created in here, I think that is the issue. This DB is not, actually seen as, coming from here. So maybe what I would do is, pass that DB. So I'm going to pass this instance. Let's just go ahead and pass it. And we'll call this, I'll pass this, and next I'll pass the document, right? Okay, so I hope that works here. If it doesn't work, we'll just change the way we, initialize and connect to this DB. So yes, we still have similar error. It says we still have the same collection error. So let's figure it out. Why do we have the same collection error? Give me a second here. Try to figure out what the problem is. All right. Just to make sure it's connecting properly, I would start by taking this off first. Just give me a second. Let's take that off and make sure that our database is connected properly in the first place. Okay. So do we have an error from this? This will be removed in the next major version. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to try a different way of connecting this. So let me try a different way of connecting this. I'm going to say .then. So I have db equals a client .db bracket name. Let's see if I return this guy. So I'm going to connect to my db. Give me a second. Let's do const connect to database, and I'm going to say this is an asynchronous call here. So I'm rewriting the function for connecting, and in here I'm going to set up a client just like this, right? So I'll say const client. So this is my client, and so if I specify this, I put in the .then. Probably don't even need to put in the .then. So I have my URL. I have some of this specification in here. If I do that, I'm going to take this off for a start. Let's take this off. So if I have this, let's stop here. Okay. So next I'm going to just see if this, if this connects, right? So let's see if this connects. Take off the try and the catch. Okay. All right. So let's drop this in here. And if this is connected, I'm going to just say console.log database connected. All right. And if database is connected, go ahead and tell us db equals client.db with the db name. All right. And so So this can actually be like a version issue. Of course, some of these, so this is what we are going to use this time around to connect to our DB. If there's an error, so we can actually use this to catch any error that arises from here. So let's just catch. I'm sure if you're a JavaScript developer, you don't have any challenge with what I am writing. You can do something like this already, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm basically using the try catch to check, of course, for possible errors. So we can run this, and if there's an error, we basically use this to tell if there was an error with our connection. All right. So we have our let's DB here. We have the database name and the URL. So this is going to be used to connect to our database first, right? And that is what we are going to first call to ensure that we have our database, connected successfully. So let's start by now setting up a proper. So this is what I'm going to do. Const main equals async, and this is where I await my database connection, right? So if the database is connected successfully, we can now go ahead to start, creating, new records, right? So we're going to call, we're going to set up like a create document function. We're going to set up a way to read the documents, and of course, we're going to have other functions as well for deleting documents. Okay, so let's do that. When we connect, this is our initial function we created earlier. Let's push this to the top. So let's see. We are going to have db.collection. We pass in the collection name, which is my collection, and we say insert one. Then we'll pass in that document. So let me try this. Okay, someone is saying the screen is static. Please let's confirm if it's just your end or if everybody is having the same issues. Please confirm if it's just your end. Please confirm if it's just your end. Who else can see my screen? All right. So I think it's just your end. Please check properly. I think it's just your end. Let's try to call this again. This time around, we'll see if our database is connected. db.collection is not a function. Yeah, that's an error because we are not using that anymore. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are able to call main, right? That will tell us if our function is working or not. So let's call main, and let's run this. That will tell us if our database connects. So from what we can see, we don't have any error here. So the assumption is our database is connected. Let's stop running this first, and the next thing we will do is simply to create a new document. We already have a function for that, so let's go ahead and call that in here within the main. So I will simply say I await create document. All right, and I would go ahead to pass in the DB, which is our connection, of course, right? So we'll pass in the DB, and next we're going to pass in the object. So this is a sample object. Let's say we have name. I can just come back here to copy this guy. All right, so let's just copy that. Okay, and I'm going to paste it in here. So we have the document that we're trying to pass in, and we also have a function that we've created already with the DB that we've also set up right here. So if I call this now, let's see what it tells us. Oh, we have the same error, cannot read. Is this a driver issue? So I'm beginning to think this is a driver issue. I might have to update. Yeah, because it should be a driver issue. It's a type error, cannot read properties, blah, blah, blah. This is definitely, this should definitely be a driver issue. I think I'm probably using an outdated version here. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. So I think this is actually going to be a driver issue. I'm not 100% sure, but it seems like it is because from all that I can see, MongoDB, yeah. All right, so just give me a second. Let me quickly go ahead and run this command again. So I'm just going to run this command real quick. Brew install. I think it should be MongoDB. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm running that from a different place. That is wrong. Brew install MongoDB. Okay, so I actually think it's a driver issue, and maybe this will just help me perform that update real quick. So while we're waiting for that update to happen, let's just give it about 2 minutes. I'm sure that should not take more than 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Okay, so I think while that is happening, I can also quickly show you how we can start installing the compass I mentioned earlier, right? So give me a second. Let's just pull up a new window here, and for those of you that did not see the page, so I can simply visit this URL and download Compass. I shared this URL with us already. So if you have it installed, simply open up the MongoDB Compass application. I have it right here on my dock, right? So you can open it if you have it installed on your Windows machine. Just go to your Start menu and search for Compass. Okay, I think that installation is probably completed. Let me try this one more time. Let's see. Node index.js. Let's run this, and yes. Okay, so now we have this document created. As you can see, we have inserted this document. I think it was a driver issue or something, maybe an update. So now we have this, connected to our DB, which means our previous code would have worked fine as well. So we're able to, set up the application. It shows that our database is connected, and we're able to also create a new document by calling the function in here to create that document. Okay, so we can start, including the other set of functions, the function that can perform the action of reading a document, updating a document, deleting a document as well. So let's go ahead and include some of those actions. So for reading a document, so let's just say read. We have const. Let's say read document. Okay, and maybe we can just use this to read everything. So we can just call everything instead of trying to look for one. I'll say db.collection, and I'll simply pass in my collection as well. By the way, for what we have created here, we can just create a new terminal, and I can simply go into Mongosh straight from here. When I navigate to, when I go into Mongosh, I can say show DBs. This would show us our new database. We call that the book class, which is right here. So I can say use book class, right? And now you see we have switched to book class. So I can simply say db.the books, right? I think that is not books. That is my collection. Yeah. But find, that's what we created. So this is the record that we inserted into our database. If you're using MongoDB Compass, you can also connect to that local URI right here. This says connected. You can see book class right here. So we can see the collection we created and the amount of documents we have within that collection. We can create a new collection if we want to, right? So let's click on that. You can see the document we have right here. We can view that in different forms as well. This is the default view. So this is the document that can also be updated from here if you want to. Okay. So MongoDB Compass is just a simple tool to view and manage your database records. So back to the action that we're trying to create here for reading documents. We can simply say .find, because that is what we're trying to do, to find all the items, and we can just pass this into an array just like this. If there's an error, by the way, if this is successful, first off, we want to print out that document. So let's simply say console.log, and we can say documents found. Then we can put in the document that was found. This is going to be a lot of documents. So let's say documents. If there's an error, right? So if there's an error, let's close this bracket first. We have the catch. Yeah, that should be double. So we have catch, correct? Dot catch, and we can basically map that error. So error, we can say console.error with the error here. So this is yeah. So this is basically the function that we'll call if we want to read the document. So I can start by logging. I can start by commenting on that because that is not what we are using. So I can just say wait. I think that was an async. Let's confirm that that is not an async function. So let's see. All right. Okay. So that is not an async. Let's go back. We'll just say read documents. So yeah, if we just call read document, it's simply going to, bring back. It's going to return all the documents. So if I go back to my terminal here and I run this again, it's simply going to fetch all the documents. So if we get to create more than one document, it's going to, fetch all of them. So I'm simply going to change this to John Doe. John Doe, and John Doe is probably 48. And we have John at doe.com. Let's save that. Let's run this again. It's going to create a new record. So now we have two records in our system, in our DB. If I should say read document, it's going to bring in, both documents back because you see we have both documents, right? The first one and the second one. So that shows that, these functions are working for creating and read document. We have the third function that would be for updating the document. So I can simply say update. So we can have a const update document equals, we have the query, right? And we are putting in the query because we need to specify, the query parameter that we want to use in performing that update, right? So I can say db.collection, specify the same collection we'll be using, right? So my collection dot updates. We're trying to update one record, so we can use update one. We pass in that query that we are, going to pass in from the function call. And next we are going to put in that command, which is set. So what we are trying to update, which is the different, objects, we're going to pass that here. The update value we're passing in basically, right? We're going to pass that in here. So we're going to say that then the results, just like what we've been doing, right? So I can simply come here and copy the entire line there. So we can just change this to say document updated. If a document was updated, and this should be the result. So this should also be result. And of course, if we have an error, so this can also work for our example. Now, when we are trying to perform an update, right, we are going to need, we're going to need to pass in, the sample object, right? The sample object would be, for example, the name of, we can use the name or the email even, right? The email is probably more unique here. So we can use the email. We can specify that, as an object in here, just like this, right? And then we can also create a different object. Let's change the age of John Doe to 58 from 48, right? So I can say age is now 58, right? So this is the age of John Doe being changed in the update function. If I call this now, it's going to update that age, and it will proceed to tell us that this was updated. So I can go back, comment on this, and read all the document to see if the age was changed from 48 to 58. And of course, you can see we have that age changed to 58 accordingly. And then the final one we have here would be to delete, right? So I can simply say delete. Yes, and in here I can have, let's see, what do we have? So yes, I can say const delete, not update, delete document. So delete document equals the query. We need to pass in the query. What exactly are you trying to delete? How should that look like? So I'm going to say db.collection, pass in the same collection name. and I'm going to say delete one. I just want to delete one record, so delete one is fine. Then we pass in the query, so we can proceed to reuse what we have here. We need to print out the result at the end of the day. Tell us if our delete action was successful or not. Okay, so if I proceed to delete a new document or an existing document, sorry, we are going to call it this way. So we delete documents and we have to pass in, the object, which is the query. So let's just say we want to delete the record of the record belonging to John Doe, and next we want to read the remaining items here after deleting that record. So if I run this again, it's simply going to delete that record, and it's going to read the remaining documents. So let's proceed to let's just run this again one more time. So now this is going to read and tell us that we only have one item left in here because we have deleted the record belonging to John Doe using email as the filter for what we are trying to delete. So this is a quick example of how to use MongoDB with Node.js. Most times you would want to use Mongoose. It's easier, it's straightforward to use, and you don't have to write a lot of code like this with a lot of callbacks and all that. You don't need all that. So Mongoose is a better way to go. It's an ODM, an object document mapper, and it makes it easier for you to work with MongoDB databases in Node.js. Okay, so check out Mongoose or check out some of our other videos. I wanted us to also go into. Someone said, "What if I am to search through the book?" Well, that's what we've been doing, which is by using a filter, right? So what do you mean by searching through the book? You want to search for a particular book, maybe using the name. You have a lot of books, okay, or you have a lot of records, and you want to search with email or with age. So give me all the books that where the age of the author is 42. Give us all the books, all the records where the name of the author is Marvelous Solomon, or give us all the books where the author's email is me@marv.com. These are filters, and this is what you use for performing that query. Okay, so I simply wanted us to go through more than what we have covered right now. I actually wanted us to do some data modeling. I wanted us to start looking at actual SQL database operations, right, and also looking at entity relationships. So we're going to move that to tomorrow's session, so please make sure you are there. We're going to be looking at data modeling concepts, right? So in tomorrow's session is going to be filled with data modeling concepts. We get to talk about things like entity relationships, right? We'll call this ER. Okay, I'll teach you how to draw entity relationship diagrams. Call that ERD. We do that a lot, right? And it's really interesting when you're able to model and map out the relationships between your data. We're going to be looking at database normalization, and hopefully we can finish this. But if we are not able to finish it, I believe most of you, might want us to just have like a different session, maybe in one of our other classes where we'll get to cover this, right? But yeah, we're going to look at database normalization from the first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, and possibly also explore the boys called normal form, which is an advanced or more strict third normal form. Okay, so we are going to be learning some of these things, and hopefully, and I'm saying hopefully because I don't think we would get there in just 1 hour, but I really want us to explore the basic syntax of Postgres, which is a SQL database, performing select statements, insert, update, delete, and possibly also doing that with Node.js, right? I don't think we can achieve all this in 1 hour, so is either I decide to keep the conversations really short, right? Or we can keep it lengthy and possibly get to plan for one more class, right? So please invite others and make sure you are there so that you can learn and ask your questions accordingly. To have a wonderful night, and thanks for joining. I'll see you in the next class. Good night.